What is up, everyone? Welcome to round 7, the semifinals of the Portland Monthly Premodern Paper Magic Afternoons August 2025 tournament. We got two rad decks to show you, some of the best in the room, so let's dive in. First up, we have Joe returning to the camera with Reanimator. Joe, having broken the curse of never winning a game on camera in a previous round, I think it was actually our round 1, has kept up the momentum and is here in the semis. Now, we're not going to run through the entire list because we already did so, but if you haven't seen Reanimator, its entire game plan is to cheat big creatures into play as early as turn 1 and hope they can close out the game before your opponent has a response. Those big threats are Phantom Neshobas, Visara, Avatar of Woe, Chromas, Verdant Force, and Symbiotic Worms, all of which do a very good job of just ending things fast. The deck also runs Oath of Druids in the sideboard as an alternate game plan if your opponent starts hitting out the graveyard a bit too much. I also, of course, want to note that a lot of love has gone into this deck. It is entirely Japanese except for the Ishin Shades, which, to be fair, are very hard to get in Japanese. They only exist as a promo, a very fun card, kind of a alt option for Multanis as they are pro-white, and usually you bring in the Multanis against decks playing Swords to Plowshares. So just an extra bonus, I guess, in addition to the Multanis, and a bit harder to play around. Anyways, that's the deck. I'm excited to see how it plays, but first, who's he playing against? Next up, and also returning to the camera, is John B with Blue-White Replenish. My feelings aside for this deck, it's obviously one of the boogeymen of the format. Very strong, very not surprising to see him doing well with it. I do also want to call out, of course, a lot of foreign language cards in here, Japanese. Obviously, a lot of love and attention gone into this deck. We're not going to go through the whole list because it is fairly stock Replenish. There might be some key choices here and there. I think having 4 Exalted Angels in the side is a bit higher than normal, but all in all, just a very strong list, and it should be an interesting matchup. There's not a lot he can do against a turn 1 reanimated threat. He obviously does have swords, which are very good in this matchup, but he does have to draw them. That being said, John is very aware of what Joe is playing at this point and may just mulligan to find that, because the Reanimator deck does invest so many resources in getting that first creature out. Should be an interesting matchup. Excited to see it. Let's get into the games. And here we go. Joe is on the left, John is on the right. I'm sure I'm going to mix up their names at some point, being so closely sounding. Just calling it out. But we are in the semifinals, round 7, the August Premodern Monthly here for Rose City Premodern. Yes, the event name is PM, but the group is Rose City Premodern. All right, looks like John is going to mulligan. Joe is keeping, so we're going to cut to when John has a keepable hand. All right, John looking for 6 here. Sorry if I dropped a bomb there with the whole naming thing. Technically, we are covering the PM event, which is our monthly event. But yeah, if you go to the Discord, we are Rose City Premodern. All right, John is keeping. Gonna lead things off with an island. We are going by who's the higher seed here for top 8, so John must have been higher seed. Joe gonna lead with Gemstone Mines into a careful study. One of the best ways for Joe to discard. Checking with John to make sure it resolves. Looks like we're going to be pitching that Symbiotic Worm and an Chroma. Neither of which are particularly great matchups against a deck running swords, but does not look like John has swords in hand, maybe? Either way, we'll see if Joe can go for the turn 2 reanimate here. Looks like he's going for it. Are we going to cast an Exhume? Or rethinking the play here? Your opponent is tapped out. Oh, Cabal Therapy. Naming swords, no doubt. There's 2 Seal of Cleansings, an Intuition, and a Replenish. So Joe missing, but John also missing a land drop here, which is pretty huge. Now the intuition could go find 3 copies of swords, and that very well may be the play. Okay, we are going to zoom here. Grabbing the Chroma, interesting choice. Oh, and of course swords was the drawn card from John. Is that technically a Thoughtseize bug if you draw it after it's named with Cabal Therapy? Anyways, the reason being, I thought maybe Symbiotic Worm would be the play here, because Joe could then sack it to the Cabal and then get a bunch of 1/1s. Much harder to swords, much harder to deal with. But maybe that was the plan all along, Joe baiting out the swords that he didn't know having. I don't know. Maybe just trying to end things fast with the Chroma. Chroma does have haste. It is 1 turn faster. Alright, there is Sarah the Dreadful going to the bin. Did Joe find a reanimation spell? Tap another 2. Do we see life, death? Yes. Alright, picking death. Checking to see if it resolves. He will take... What is Symbiotic Worm? 8. Right, of course, when it dies, it makes 7 1/1s. He is going to sack it now to the Cabal Therapy. Do you name the Intuition to avoid getting the other 3 swords? Looks like it. Okay. Gonna get a bunch of 1/1s here. Come on, Joe, you don't have the tokens? This is only one of in the deck, so I understand if he doesn't have tokens for it, but 7 1/1s. Alright, John unfortunately facing mana issues here. And Joe getting another clean turn. Gonna start getting in with everything. Swing for 7. And do you just reanimate the worm again? Or do you go for Visara? Okay, Undiscovered Paradise for turn. Gonna tap it. Another Cabal. Gonna name Attunement. Sees some other options there. Now, Replenish is pretty scary. There is Soul Lands in John's deck, so he could play it next turn. Joe not really caring about the Parallax Tide at this point. He's going to sack one of them, I think, to, yeah, grab the Replenish. That's probably the safe call. 6 attackers does not really reduce the clock that much more. I mean, it does give him an extra turn, I guess. But John just not finding any lands, which is a real problem for his deck, honestly. He needs that 4 mana. His deck functions at 4 mana. Alright, there's an Unmask. Hardcast. I'm not sure what he named there, but he did not find it. Or sorry, Unmask, he can just pick. I'm so used to Cabal Therapies. Alright, he's going to take the Opalescence. Makes sense. There's a land. Say go. John, I think, fortunately not going to have a way to pull this one back. And Joe just picking his hand apart too with all this attack. Still setting up future turns. Draw 2, discard 2 with that careful study. Precursor to Faithless Looting. Pitching a Phantom Nishoba and an Animate Dead. Definitely not a good card with all of those Seal of Cleansings. John pointing at it there as well. And there's another Cabal. Might as well hit the Parallax Tide. Why not? Swing in for 6. Don't forget to do that part. Yep. Down to 1. I don't know what John can draw that gets him out of this. We're gonna go to game number 2. And here we are in game number 2. Joe having very consistent turn 2 and turn 3 reanimate, and John just unfortunately not having anything going on. Missing his land drops is a little tough for sure. See if both players have a keepable land this time though. I do think the Replenish deck does mulligan pretty well, but I imagine John kept a 2-lander and then just didn't see anything. Okay, looks like both players have a keepable hand. John gonna lead off with Undarkar Wastes. Plays an Aurum Chant on turn 1. Joe, you cannot cast any spells. Just can play out a land. That is a way to slow down Joe's game plan. Plays out Floodstrand and says go. No Orange Chant this turn, but he does have counterspell mana up. Alright, gonna crack the Floodstrand here. That is the thing about the reanimation deck. It does run a ton of hand attack, and I feel like Joe's list runs a little bit more than normal. In addition to the Cabals and the Dresses, he does have those 2 unmasks. Right, there's a mana leak. Joe not getting to peek at John's hand, but he was probably angling for that mana leak anyways. Does he have another option? He was not. Just gonna pass back to John. John with just the plain say go. And Joe, what does he got going on? There's a Cabal, probably naming swords here. I think John definitely does hold on to any hand that has swords. John thinking here though. He does have a Replenish. 2 Replenish. Intuition. And a Parallax Wave. Alright, Joe's just gonna pass on an end step. That's that intuition. What do we find? You just find 3 copies of Parallax Tide? Or, well, you really need a land. Joe has not put anything dangerous in the graveyard yet. Only has 2 lands. The problem with Tide, though, from John's perspective, is Joe does not need a lot of mana to go off. He's got his Lotus Petals, he's got his Dark Rituals, so just functionally needs 1 land in hand. Alright, grab an Attunement. An Opalescence. Okay. Get a Win Con and a Parallax Tide. Still, Mana Denial is pretty good. But, again, Joe does not need a lot of it to be dangerous. And what does Joe pick here? Takes the Opalescence. Okay. Say go. No land drop. Joe is very excited about it. Does he find what he needs? He does have reanimation spells. He needs a way to get cards in his graveyard. Okay, he's going to pitch a reanimate. Oh, there's a mana leak. That unmask is not going to do its thing. And Joe can just pass back. Alright, Ancient Tomb here. Replenish is online. This is exactly what Joe does not want to see. We get a Parallax Tide, Attunement. Next turn, things are going to go very south. Of course, if Joe can actually hit that Replenish, which he cannot, the Reanimation deck does not run a ton of lands. Partially because, oh, there's another mana leak in hand there for John, feeling pretty safe here, I imagine. Alright, cracking the attunement here. Gonna pitch the Opalescence, attunement. Parallax Wave. Plays out a land. Still having Mana Leak mana up, which is important. For Replenish. I can't imagine this game is going to last too much longer. John has the combo, and yet we're scooping things up and going to game number 3. Alright, Joe correctly recognizing when we're in garbage time. Once the Replenish deck has all its pieces, you basically can't do anything. So, Joe gonna be on the play for the first time this match. I do see 2 swords in John's hand. I can't imagine he's shipping this back if he has a plains. However, as we talked about in the deck tech, Joe has lots of options against swords. And John actually is shipping this back. Alright, so we're going to cut to when he has a keepable hand. Alright, John looking for 6 here. I didn't see what was in his hand except for the plains and 2 swords, and apparently that was not good enough against the Reanimate deck, so hopefully this 6 is better. Looks like it is. He's going to put it back, and Joe will lead us off. Are we going to see a turn 1 reanimation? No, Joe is just passing here. This is a trick the reanimation deck can, or the Reanimator deck can do. It does put him kind of far behind. If he passes here, he does have to discard a card. It's very risky, especially against a deck running counter magic like John's. Pitching a Multani. 7 cards in hand. John playing a Meddling Mage here, not leaving up counter magic. So basically saying he doesn't have it. There's a Lotus Petal. There's a land. All the things coming out. Reanimate was named, but there's an Exhume. Very nice Carl Critchlow signed Exhume for the Multani, which is massive. Get some dice here, but yeah, currently a 10-10. Going to be doing some real damage. There is a swords off the top for John, but Multani has Shroud, so that's the other thing. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in all players' hands, and it has Shroud. That's why it sees play in the Reanimator deck in the sideboard, particularly for the removal heavy matchups or against decks playing swords. Alright, Multani is still a 10-10, just a little reorg of the dice. It will only be relevant when it connects. And I have to imagine John is going to block here. Does not want to lose half of his life. Can't swords it. Might as well chump block it. Reanimate is now live again. I don't think it'll be necessary. Okay, we're gonna tap. Unless, is Joe gonna reanimate the Meddling Mage? No, there's a dress. Okay. Reanimating the Meddling Mage would be nasty. There's a Replenish. I think that's the take here. Yep. Swords doesn't do anything. Ancient Tombs don't do anything. John has 3 Replenish left. Granted, he's now at the point mana-wise where he can just play out whatever he wants. There's an attunement cracked. What do you pitch? Notably did not play his land drop yet. I'm going to keep his options open. Again, deck lives and dies at 4 mana. He doesn't need the Ancient Tombs at this point. Looks like he's going to be pitching them. And a swords. What is the 4th card going to be? Is he not seeing any of his... Okay, there's a Parallax Tide. Yeah. Not super relevant either, but... could be... Okay. Are we going to see a Replenish? No, there's a Parallax Wave. Can't target the Multani, but at this point I think John's just trying to play out cards. This is one of the reasons why Ishin Shade is so good. Because your opponent just starts playing out everything they have to try and make Multani smaller. It is only going to hit for 7, taking John down to 13. There's an opalescence. That does make a difference. Okay, frantic search here. I think just 2 lands off the top, so frantic search is a miss. Gonna play out the opalescence, and this actually is fairly problematic for Joe, as this does make the Parallax Wave a very good blocker. It can just exile itself before damage. So Joe actually gonna have to find another threat here. Oh, but there's is that a Tranquility? Or Tranquil Domain? Yes, the one of in the sideboard. Hammer. Absolute hammer. Multani is only a 6/6, but is going to take John down to 7. Yep. Say go. That was John's out. I think, unless he finds a replenish, there's an attunement. He's not dead yet. If he has anything he can play out in hand, he should do it now. I'm just gonna say go. And how many cards in Joe's hand? Is that 6? Oh, 7. Is that 3, 4, 5, 6? Yep, and 1 card in John's hand. Okay, we're gonna crack the attunement. Oh, putting Joe at 1 life, right? Or no, just looking for something. He's still gonna be at 7, right? So it doesn't actually matter. I don't know what John's digging for. Can't cast the swords, yep, and that is game. Joe takes it down in 3. Alright, those were some crazy games. Replenish showing why it can be so powerful, especially when it's on the play, but Reanimator coming in clutch with that Multani. Very cool to see. Thanks to all you guys for sticking around. If you made it this far, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet already. Those 2 things are the best way to support what I'm doing. If you've been subscribed for a while and you want to support what I'm doing financially, consider joining the Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you get your name up here with all these other wonderful folks. Thank you all for your support. Joining the Patreon gets you not only your name up here, but also access to members only section of the Discord, where I show behind the scenes of upcoming videos. We talk decks, basically whatever you guys want. It's like a little clubhouse. If you'd like to join, link is on the screen and also in the video description below. Money from the Patreon goes towards gear upgrades, travel expenses, and just helping make higher quality videos. Thank you again for watching. I'll catch you next time.